Opening up today's episode with his single, Nothing Is Impossible, from his debut solo album, Salt, the one and only Mr. Kahn Morbee.
Take me back to that place where we are free and young. We still believe nothing is impossible, and so they tell me it's inside your fragile mind. Believe you will achieve the impossible. Take me back to that place. We are free, yeah. We still believe nothing is impossible, and so they tell me it's inside fragile mind. Believe you will achieve the impossible, and take me back to that place where we are free and young. We still believe nothing is impossible, and so they tell me it's inside your fragile mind. Believe you will achieve the impossible.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me extreme pleasure to present to you a true original jewel in the crown of local music. I'm talking about none other than the sublimely talented songwriting genius, the one and only Mr. Kahn Morbee. Kahn, thank you so much.
You're interviewing the wrong guy.
Yeah, no, you can pay me. You can pay me for the intro later. Yeah. It's cool. So listen, we're here on a stunning autumn afternoon in Cape Town, literally a few hours away from another intimate performance on your solo journey. Literally weeks away from becoming a father for the very first time. And the first thing that strikes me is you just seem like you're in a really good space and a man that's happy with life at the moment.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it on the head. Yes, I am.
And we're here obviously to talk about the solo journey. If we go right back to the very beginning and a very young Kahn Morbee having dreams about being a performing artist, can you remember specifically if you were dreaming of being the frontman of a very successful group, or were you thinking about being a solo musician, or did you ever kind of put that kind of bracket on it?
Well, look, I know from a young age I loved singing. and I loved performing like in plays and doing musicals and stuff like that. I guess at some stage I had an aspiration of being in a band, but yeah, it was always kind of a more pie in the sky kind of ideal that started out as a hobby, turned into a passion, and then fortunate for me it actually became my profession.
Okay, now let's fast forward to that actually manifesting itself. I'm going to do two scenarios for you. Scenario number one, I like to call the golden paved highway to solo success. And in this scenario, Kahn Morbee, frontman of arguably the biggest household name in local music, announces to industry insiders that he's going to embark on a solo project. Literally have record labels, marketing, PR, advertising execs clambering and fighting over each other, trying to offer you the best possible deal out there with almost a guaranteed route map to solo success. And then we have scenario B, which I like to call the beaten track. An independent released, self-funded, crowd-funded debut solo project, probably littered with dongers, potholes, and many other obstacles, and without a very clear, defined ending. And what do you go and choose? You go and choose route number B. And as the general music population out there, you've got fans kind of scratching their heads going, WTF, why the hell have you, why have you taken that route?
Yeah, I think the reason I got into music in the first place was I guess I had this illusion that it was about freedom and that I wouldn't be, tied to the dreams and aspirations of something else, whether it was a bureaucracy or a big corporate. I kind of felt like I'd be championing my own cause. But over the last couple of years, I kind of felt that concept of freedom wasn't really there. I was feeling quite stifled, and I think if I had signed up to any sort of label, the very thing the reason I got into it for freedom would once again have been stifled. So yes, it's a more difficult path, and certainly it's like walking with a candle. That's as far as into the future as you can see, but I think it's a lot more satisfying, a lot more rewarding, and I dictate what, how, when, who. I'm not dictated to.
Okay, now let's look at the kind of fears and pressures that go hand in hand with that decision that you've made.
Well, I think the number one fear that anyone has embarking on a project is whether it'll fail or not. And obviously I was under no illusions that merely just because I had sort of success in the parlour tones that it would automatically warrant success in this solo project. If anything, it was I'd be more under the microscope. I always say people always applaud the failures of others. I don't know what it is, instead of revering success. But yeah, so I think my biggest fear is that I won't be able to embark on this journey forever, and I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think I meandered there. I've even forgotten the question.
Would I be right in assuming, though, then all of that kind of pales in comparison to the other side of the coin, which you touched on? Something that many artists probably dream about having, but at times never truly ever achieve, and that's complete and utter musical freedom and control of your destiny and artistic license. Yeah,
I guess, I can't say I've reached utopia, but certainly that's the plan, and that's the direction that I want to take my music in. And I think as much as the industry is in a weird place, it's in a state of flux, it does allow more opportunity because that traditional model is not really, it's not guaranteed. Yes, in the past it was kind of guaranteed, but now it's not. So you may as well do it on your own. I always say I'd rather be the captain of my own shipwreck than the slave of someone else's cruise liner.
You mentioned it there. Let's talk about that kind of state of flux. the kind of independent, self-funded, crowd-funded model has been around in places like the States and Europe for a very long time. People have embraced it. It's given artists a different route to market, a different way to kind of give themselves exposure out there, and it's really worked. However, you look at the South African market, and there's kind of still that very old-school, dogmatic approach to, we'll go out there, we'll play our guts out in the hope that some record label sees us and we make it. Why do you think we've kind of been behind the 8 ball and it's taken such a long time here, especially in South Africa, to kind of embrace that model?
The crowdfunding model?
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was doing the crowdfunding thing, it was quite new to a lot of South Africans. You know, I know because of, obviously, we lived in the States for a while, that Kickstarter and Indiegogo and all those things were massive.
Yeah.
And you're right, have been around for years. People here are still pretty unfamiliar with the concept. And it's a weird concept because you're putting down a deposit, or you're paying for something that you're only really going to acquire in the future. If at all. If at all, yeah. I mean, obviously, in the hope that this project does actually materialize. So it's quite a mind, you know, it's quite an education to get people to buy into it. But I think, like anything, you know, the more often it happens and the more often it's a success, the more often the public will get involved. And I think, you know, there's a lot of sort of new marketing material around acquiring a tribe. You know, instead of trying to appeal to 1 million people, rather try and focus and embrace like a tribe of people, 1,000 people, 1,000 fans, and get them to kind of invest in your career and your journey. And that way you'll probably have more longevity than the fleeting tastes of the masses, if you know what I mean.
All right. Let's talk performance now. Your very first solo performance, where were you? Where was it? How were you feeling?
Oh, that's an interesting story. So my first solo performance, it was before I'd even recorded the album.
Yeah.
But I'd written all the songs and stuff. And it was at a Barnyard Theatre in Joburg. And I remember like the 2 nights before, I couldn't sleep and I kept waking up in these like crazy sweats. I was like, I'm obviously flipping nervous about this show, you know, doing it on my own for the first time. That day I was like extremely weak. Also, you know, the night before, no sleep, waking up and like literally drenched. So then...
Yes, everybody, he is human.
There's more to the story. So then I played that show, get home at like 2 a.m, had to leave the next morning, red-eye flight to PE to play a show down there. So very little sleep. And the same thing that night with this, but then I just go, okay, it's just this, I've obviously been stressed out because of the show, and now it's just lack of sleep. Next day, fly down to Cape Town to record. I'm like dead in studio, and I'm like, okay, it's just the knock-on effect of the lack of sleep. And then that same night, again, I wake up and I'm drenched in sweat. Wake up 2 hours later, like the bed's drenched in sweat. So I think, okay, no, there's something wrong with me. So I go to the doctor, and it turned out I had tick bite fever. So all this time I thought, I was just nervous. So, yeah.
All right. Now, I want to kind of gather the biggest stepping up from a safety net like the Polytones, and I use the word safety net with respect because that's a title that you guys earned over the years. You really did. Did you or do you feel a sense of kind of vulnerability when you're out there and exposure, kind of saying, hey everyone, this is not the Polytones, this is me, this is Kahn?
Yeah, certainly with the first couple of shows, you know, and I kind of would joke with the audience saying, there's probably a few of there sitting in the audience going, where's his makeup? And, when's he going to play colourful? So, you know, I was quite aware that the initial attraction to the show would be a mix of curiosity and obviously maybe some confusion. People really legitimately think they're going to hear solo versions of Polytone songs. So, you know, obviously I had to kind of pander to that, and I would pep in some Parlourtone songs
Okay.
through the set, but the bulk of it would be the solo project. And now I feel more comfortable in the solo project, and I think it's been long enough now that the audience are aware that they're going to hear the solo stuff. But I always throw in a version of a Parlourtone song.
All right. When writing your solo material, have you been conscious, or were you conscious of trying to write songs and melodies that still kind of appealed to Parlourtone fans in the hope that they would embrace the solo work? Or did you remain completely true to the kind of creative process as well and hope that they still liked the solo work?
Well, I think I approach the concept of songwriting the same with Parlourtones as I do to the solo thing. You know, I kind of stick to the classic fundamentals of what makes songwriting popular.
Sure.
And there's, I always say with anything in the arts, even it is a blend of science and creativity, and science is the formula and the theory and all of that stuff that moves people and appeals to people, and then obviously the creative aspect is hopefully what brings it a magical flair to it. So with both projects, the focus is melody, and I work from there. Sonically, I will certainly try and treat the solo project differently. I mean, while we're recording, I would say that's something I would probably have done in a recording situation in the Parlourtones. So let's try and deviate from that. But in reality, I just write songs, and if at the time I'm working on a solo project, then that's the route. If at the time I'm working on Parlourtones, that's the route. It's not like I go, okay, now this is going to be a solo song. So it's just, there's a bunch of songs, document them, move on.
Okay. Kahn, the musician, Kahn, the husband, the friend, the family man. How do you separate the two? Because obviously music is a big part of your life, but it is not your whole life. How do you consciously separate the two?
Whew, difficulty. I think I'm so immersed in music that it's difficult to separate. But I think where I am now in my life is at a stage where I think I'm achieving some sort of balance. At a stage, it was all just music. I mean, I think there was one year where we did 300 gigs in that year. And if that wasn't happening, it was obviously some sort of recording or music video or interview. So, it can get a little bit intense. Yeah. And, life's important. It's important to, for your own well-being, share time with humans that you connect with.
Well, I was actually just, it leads straight on to what I was going to ask you. For the kind of creative and artistic process, how important is it to take a step back from the music and invest in quality time with friends and family and loved ones?
Yeah, very important. I mean, I think any walk of life, balance is important, and obviously the fact that I write from the perspective of the human journey, the more time I spend with other humans, the better. More material, that's the kind of that is my material. So
okay, the human journey, fatherhood quickly approaching. Have you noticed an impact of pending fatherhood on lyrically how you write songs, or have you kind of anticipated what that effect will have on how you write songs lyrically and becoming a father?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure, once the little guy's out, there's going to be an album of songs where people are going to be like, okay, stop boring us with the how much you love your kids songs. But, I mean, it's certainly going to, as a natural process, that's going to happen. It's going to influence my songwriting in some way. I mean, ultimately, I think most songwriters just absorb, and then that sort of life experience pours out when it comes to creating a song.
Right. looking forward into the future as we kind of round up, what does the future have in store for you as Kahn, a solo artist? What are the plans, and what are the kind of long-term goals that you've set in place? Because I don't want to ask how you measure success, because something like success, I'm sure you'll agree, is all a matter of perspective. But in any way, shape or form, could Salt in your solo journey ever be considered a failure to you?
No, not at all. As long as you're doing something and putting it out there, regardless of whether you sell it to 5 people or 5 million, it can't be seen as a failure if you did it, if you followed through with it. And for me, it's not about validation. You know, it's just satisfying myself, really. And if some people along the way buy into it, that's cool. And as long as enough of them buy into it so that I can keep a...
You can do a second one.
Yeah. But that's not the reason. That's not the driving principle.
Gotcha.
You know, even if things fucked out and, you know, I had to look for a day job, I'd still make albums. You know? It'd just be a gift for the family come Christmas time.
Okay.
Except I'd make them buy it.
Listen, at times like this, we'd often wish people luck with the future. But one thing I can say with being a fan for a very long time is I think there hasn't been an element of luck, but more a kind of application of creativity and passion and bucket loads of hard work. So on behalf of all of us and every single fan you have out there, we look forward to hearing that unique voice for many more years to come, and very excited for what the future holds for Kahn Morbee.
Awesome.
Absolute
Cool.
pleasure. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Cheers.
So I've been a big Polytones fan from day one, and I've been following your solo career as well. I've always loved your songs. It's very different. So what inspires you to write such deep poetic lyrics?
I kind of mentioned it earlier, but yeah, it really is my interpretation. That's all it really is of the human journey.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's my own experience. Sometimes it's me kind of retelling a story that I've heard or been involved in. Okay. Yeah, and I think with lyrics, you know, there's a million. Ultimately, the essence of a story is always the same. You can say I kissed the girl, or you can say you tasted wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just trying to say the same thing in a slightly more descriptive way. That's how I try and approach most of the lyrics.
Okay, cool.
Tradition on the SA Artist Spotlight is that unfortunately you have to be subjected to a general knowledge musical challenge quiz against me. Now, purely because I like you, and you're quite a nice guy, and I'm a fan, I'm not going to take it easy on you for 1 second.
Cool.
So are you ready for this? If you know the answer, simply slam down your pepper shaker, and I'll slam down my shot shaker. I do not know what these questions are. Our producer Mark is going to read them out, and I have not seen them. Just for all you people out there who think this is a ruse, it is not. All right, producer Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Which Italian classic tenor became blind at the age of 12 following a football accident?
Luciano Pavarotti.
No, man, definitely not Pavarotti.
Oh, Andrea Bocelli.
Yes, damn you. One of those spaghetti sounding names.
How many strings does a violin usually have?
That was me first, and I'm going to go with 4.
Okay, you're right on that. Which English rock band, formed in London in 1969, takes its name from a fictional character in David Copperfield?
Hey, stop. I can see at the corner of my eye some assistance going on here. Okay, I pass.
Pass that as well.
Okay, the answer is Uriah Heep. In which American city was Elvis discovered dead in 1977?
I'm going to lose this thing. Graceland. No, that's his home.
This is home. Memphis.
Yes. Sean John Combs is better known by which British electronic music duo are composed of Tom Rowlands and
Eurasia. Pet Shop Boys. Sheesh. Can you give us a clue?
How was your chemistry in school.
The Chemical Brothers.
Who is noted for his guitar solo on Stairway to Heaven?
Robert Plant. Jimmy Page.
-1 + 1, 0.
Daniel Stein is an English DJ and record producer known for his electronic music. Is better known by what name?
I'm sorry, I didn't pick these questions.
There is a South African with the same name.
Jacobus.
Jacobus.
Calvin Harris.
No, obviously not.
Paul Oakenfold.
Fatboy Slim. No, obviously not. DJ Fat.
So close.
Fats and Small.
Okay, that's enough guessing. DJ Fresh.
Oh, no, man.
American musician Michael Lee Aday is better known by what stage name?
David Lee Roth.
Sounds like a meal.
Meatloaf.
Yes. Who reunited in 1981 for the concert in Central Park, which attracted more than 500,000 music fans?
Simon and Garfunkel.
There you go.
Bridge Over Troubled Waters is one of the best performances I've seen. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredibly cool Mr. Kahn Morbee. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with his exclusive SA Artist Spotlight performance of his self-penned titled song, The Outsider, the one and only Mr. Kahn Morbee.
Why do I feel so lonely? Lost in the crowd, the outsider, outsider. I feel left out. And why does it seem so noisy? This buzz in my head, the outsider, outsider. I feel left out. I shuffle with a billion phonies, a cannonball carnival clown. I'm just a sentimental piece of shit. It's crowded, but I feel alone. Shuffle with a billion phonies, a cannibal carnival clown. I'm just a sentimental piece of shit. It's crowded, but I feel alone. All I know is I'm an outsider. Why do I act so jaded? If I do give a shit, the outsider, outsider. I feel left out.
With crazy